I missed the button.
No intro. No intro.
I guess it just doesn't want to do an intro tonight. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Market Down Podcast. My name is Nick Cummings, and I don't know how to hit the button at the proper time.
Should we just do it, though? Should we just do the intro? Like, would it be weird at this point? I don't know. It feels weird to not have it.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Yes, boy!
French toast is the exchange student that you have like a 3-week affair with.
Fake. We can see that you don't have pants on.
Somebody hit somebody with a pie. Do something.
Giovanni yelling we're out of time as we go off the air.
Giovanni yelling a lot of things tonight.
And welcome to the Market Down Podcast.
That felt right? That felt right.
It felt better. Yeah. So should I start over then? So, hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Market Down Podcast. My name is Nick Cummings, joined this week by James Asante, as we are not only back here once again to review this week's episode of AEW Dynamite, but we really hope producer boy goes back and fixes that in post.
I don't know. That felt us. I don't mind.
Yeah, leave it all in. Screw it. We're going to jump right into this week as we had a bit of a weird one. Kind of, for lack of a better phrase, weird. They were in Omaha, Nebraska tonight, and a lot of the travel for the talent was delayed or inhibited by a blizzard that was there, which is weird because, as they mentioned on commentary, and I read quite a bit on the internet, it was like 74 degrees there last night. So
it's ending. It's fine.
There's definitely nothing wrong with the climate. So we're going to, unless you have something to say, James.
Yes, before we get into anything tonight, before we actually start covering the show, I teased this last week, and I'm going to talk about it probably a little bit throughout the show and at the end of the show, but we are doing a giveaway with this episode tonight, okay? So all you need to do, whether you're in our live chat or after this video airs, you're going to have like probably a week or so where I'm going to give you guys, but we're just going to show it today. We're giving away a Speedball Mike Bailey autograph picture. All right. We met Speedball at House of Glory on a few occasions. He is an awesome talent, as the AEW crowd tonight was becoming very, very aware of. So if you are interested in winning a Speedball Mike Bailey autograph, all you got to do is leave a comment here in the live chat or in the comment section after this video airs live.
And then I'm sure James will go through them one by one by himself and find all of your names.
I'll do it. So far, it's the guaranteed winner.
As we say, hello to who's trying to get us demonetized by singing something, but I'm too smart to do it. Although he makes a good point. But we're not going to start in that spot as great as it was. We're going to start, surprisingly for me at least, in the middle of the card. Not surprising that we start with this match, but the fact that it was in the middle of the card. And it was Jon Moxley versus Adam Copeland for the AEW World Championship in a street fight. Really quick, though, something I noticed before the match. Did you notice the briefcase is now taped up because Copeland broke it?
Yeah. Touch. I like that. Nice touch. Not the type to just get a new briefcase. He's the type to just patch it up. I dig it.
Yeah, so that was cool. This match started as Moxley was making his entrance from the outside through the loading area in the blizzard. Copeland jumped him from behind. They fought into the back of a semi-truck before eventually they made their way through the bowels of the stadium and into the ringside area. Then before commercial break, we had Moxley hit Copeland with a paradigm shift onto the announce table, which, as is kind of now tradition in AEW, did not break. The reinforced announce table. I kind of like that they just went the complete opposite.
Yep.
WWE's always breaks. This one never does after it used to always break.
Because when it finally does break, it's going to be a big moment.
Yep.
Yep.
So they have to say that for a very special occasion.
Exactly.
A bit later in the match, we finally got to see Copeland really utilize Spike. He grabbed it earlier in the match and teased it, but I think we were talking about this before the show, James. You said Copeland might have used it against Christian. I don't remember him using it.
He used it right in his crotch.
Right. Okay. But nothing to this extent, because Copeland hit Moxley right in the midsection with it, turned around and hit him across the back with it. And again, with the nails, not just the paddle part of it. and then freaking suplex Moxley onto Spike, and it got stuck in his back in one of the most painful looking things I have ever seen.
It's not that he landed on nails. We've seen people land on stuff and it be gnarly. It's the fact that this monstrous thing got undeniably, inarguably stuck in his back. They needed time to get it out of him.
It looked more barbed than barbed wire. Like, that's how barbed wire is supposed to act. When you pull it out, it's supposed to like hook underneath your skin and pull your skin. And that's what it was doing to Mox. So he couldn't get it out just because of the positioning. If you saw on our thumbnail, the ref couldn't get it out. And meanwhile, while this is happening, Wheeler Yuta came rushing in from backstage, and he hit a Psycho Knee to Copeland, and then he tries to get it out, and then he's just like, I'm like 12 years old. I need an adult. Somebody come and do this for me. So the referee finally, I think it was Paul Turner, came back over, and he finally got out of Moxley's back, which was bleeding, but not as much as you would expect. Meanwhile, Wheeler went to the outside and went to hit a Psycho Knee onto Copeland, but Copeland was able to counter it and put him through a table. Yeah. Claudio and Castagnoli and Pac then made their returns, and they came in and took Copeland down, eventually bringing him back in the ring and beginning to set him up for a concerto. For FTR came out to even the odds, and that included Dax hitting a pile driver onto Moxley as he was in the process of taking out Pac and fighting him on the outside. Copeland then speared a staggered Moxley through a propped up table in the corner. And then they had a great shot of Spike, the table, and Moxley and Copeland, as we say hi to Maria, all just in a heap in the corner. And then Copeland eventually gained enough consciousness to drag Moxley out for a pinfall. But as he did so, Marina Shafir made her return, and she came out and broke up the pin. She then went full mount on Copeland and started raining in rights and lefts. And so Willow Nightingale came down, and she threw Marina off, tossing her to the outside before hitting a cannonball out there. Then Copeland seemingly got up. I don't know if he hit the spear because this became such a cluster, but Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian then came down, and they took out Copeland, including Wayne hitting a Wayne's World, and that allowed Moxley to go for a pinfall on Cope. But however, he kicked out, so Moxley immediately transitioned into the Bulldog choke and once again passed Copeland out to retain his AEW World Championship. Throughout all of this, we also saw Prince Nana in the back watching, and after the end of the match, we saw him make a phone call, presumably to the number one contender to the title, Swerve Strickland. And then after the match, after the Death Riders left, FTR and Willow are seen checking on Copeland, and Copeland went to put out his hand to Dax to help him up, and Dax blew him off, seemingly frustrated with Copeland's inability to defeat the Death Riders, even with their help, even shoving Cash on his way to the back. And then he went back there. Cash got back in the ring and helped Copeland up before going after Dax, and then Willow helped him out of the ring and to the back. So, James, this was an overbooked clusterfuck in the best.
Maria would agree with you. This match was way overbooked.
Yeah, but some overbooked is fun, and I was really having a lot of fun with this. But it was the same ending as we've now gotten the last three matches with Moxley and Copeland. It's just Mox passing him out with a bulldog choke. And we had the only added bonus we got was the Christian boys fucking came in, not the Bucks.
NFTR. We haven't seen them get involved in this in a while. Like, they took place of Jay White, I guess.
Very true. Although they were facing off against the Death Riders a bit on Collision with Copeland and in tag matches. So it wasn't out of the realm of possibility that they came in and helped. It wasn't very random either. But even then, there was so much to this going on, and then to end with the same old ending was it made it so flat compared to the highs we were hitting with Shivani laughing at how much he loves AEW.
My issue, I don't mind how overbooked this was, just because I expected it. It was a street fight with a guy whose whole thing has been that he's got a posse who comes in at the worst possible time. So I expected Yuta. And I think I called it that I was expecting the rest of the Death Riders to come back sooner than later.
Yeah, obvious Death Riders are obvious.
So I was cool with that concept. I didn't like seeing Christian's guys come in just because I'm assuming that means we're going to be getting more Cope Christian, and I really don't need it right now. I know our group chat was talking about it, and they just assumed that we're going to be getting Cope and Christian tag teaming, and I guess theoretically that's possible sooner than later. Like we all know that before they hang it up, they're going to team up one more time at least, or have one little tag run together.
Yeah.
But I don't see how where we are now leads to them teaming up. At least not like in this moment. I don't need to see Christian's guys. I don't need Cope versus Christian. So that was stuff that I just I more eye rolled than anything else. I guess I'm intrigued by the FTR stuff because I agree with Maria that FTR are better as heels. They need that Adam Copeland. And
yeah, no pun intended, I was gonna say, but
very intended.
You dove head first into it.
But I think they work better as heels, but this just doesn't feel justified. Like, why are you mad at Cope when it took 7 people to put him down? It took all of the Death Riders and Christian's coalition. So I don't know. I thought it didn't feel real, and maybe they'll explain it better as we go further along. But if it's just you lost again, blah blah blah, that just doesn't feel. No, I'm not into it.
I agree.
The match was fine. I thought the match was good. Way better than the main event at the pay-per-view. To the point that I have to question how this show was booked, that Cope Christian was in the middle of the show and not the main event. And they had the women main event tonight as opposed to main eventing at the pay-per-view. Because I was under the impression the argument was if the world title is being defended, that's the main event. And the women's title was on the line at the pay-per-view. This was just a match for the women, which granted, fantastic match.
Absolute
amazing. Love that match. It didn't need to main event. So I don't know what any of that was. That was Teddy bonkers. But yeah, I enjoyed the match. Seeing Spike used like that, gnarly.
No, yeah.
Like, let's take into account. You were talking about the weather at the show. Jon Moxley had to drive 11 hours to get to the venue from where he lives, from where he was stationed. He had to drive 11 hours to get to this show. That man drove 11 hours to eat spiked nails in the back. God bless him.
Apparently, according to that nail punctures don't bleed as much. Go figure.
Yeah, but I mean, I saw blood.
Yeah, but it wasn't nearly as bad as, say, some of the blood that we saw last Sunday in the steel cage match.
That's true. But
and definitely not near as bad as the blood as we saw in the women's match last Sunday, which again should have main evented. Not only just because of hindsight's 2020, but also because that was a 18 months worth of storyline that had built up, and they were having the biggest blow-off match they could possibly have, and then you don't get the main event. It was weird.
And just for it, I'm not mad that the women main evented. It's just I don't understand the logic of how they didn't main event the pay-per-view, but this was the show that they main evented.
Yeah,
something didn't really add up there.
A non-18-month blow-off match. A non-Tony Storm match main eventing, which, again, I'm totally fine with the women main eventing 99% of the time. Yeah. This is just like the weird 1% where you're like, okay, but it's the AEW World Championship being defended on television, not even on pay-per-view, in a street fight nonetheless. And something that ended up being a very good street fight up until the end, obviously, just with the finish. But I was very much enjoying this match. I was enjoying it as much as Shivani was.
Yeah. As much as Nana was after the match.
Yeah. So
did we talk about that? Did you bring that up?
I briefly mentioned it. Yeah, he almost had like a look of concern than anything else, just because it's going to take a lot for Swerve and Nana alone to overcome all of the Death Riders, despite the fact that it just wants to get the belt off of Moxley so this can all end.
Agreed. If only Swerve had some sort of mogul embassy or something. That'd be cool. No.
He's tagging to your face. Down in Ring of Honor. I learned that the other day.
Whoop-de-doo, Basil. Whoop-de-doo.
Maria also bringing up a good point here. Where was Jay White?
That's the question.
I think after last week, I'm not surprised he didn't show up because he said he did his part in trying to help Copeland win the title, and now he's focusing on himself and his attempts to get the world championship. So I'm not completely surprised that White didn't show up, but I wouldn't be surprised if it came back around at some point in a conversation with Copeland and White. JL is just putting a trash bin and saying, "Are you tired of the rubbish Death Riders nonsense?" And I think that it's fair. I enjoyed the match, not the ending, but I think a lot of people are getting tired of the Death Riders nonsense if they haven't been already. They've been better lately, which isn't a high bar to clear.
Yeah.
Last Sunday obviously took away a lot of that goodwill. I think match-wise, this brought some of it back. But again, we are having very bullshit endings over and over and over. And again, 3 straight, it's been the same one with Copeland. Bulldog choke to pass out for the win. So I can understand being tired with the Death Riders. But I would know, hopefully, JL, I know you're not a UJW guy. Hopefully you enjoyed the rest of the show because I thought it was very good.
Yeah. And just a reminder, because we're getting more people commenting, JL, Maria joining the fun. You guys are entered into this Speedball Mike Bailey autograph giveaway. So stay tuned until next week.
Winner of that will be announced next week. So I think the only last thing, James, just to maybe figure out why this was in the middle. The only thing I was thinking, maybe it was just when everybody arrived and who had the time to figure or more time to figure out all of their matches.
Yeah. I also think maybe, and they were worried that the crowd was going to get tired after a lot, like with all the weather getting to the show. They wanted the energy for that match. And I mean, kind of a dick move for the women, but yeah, I could see them wanting to put it in a not bad spot. Joking or saying, I don't know if he's joking. He's agreeing with JL. What's the world coming to? We'll never know. We'll never, ever know.
Not much. But yeah, whatever the reason, it was odd placement for this match, but I still think it was a pretty solid one. Alone, I had a lot of fun with.
Yeah.
Until, the end result.
We're going to be in this nebulous. We're going to be stuck in this vortex until he loses the title.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are going to be some very fun, entertaining matches until we get there. But
segments too.
Yeah, but the results are always going to be the same until he loses it. Interesting match. Death Riders. He retains through nonsense.
Yeah.
And I lived through it with the Bloodline. I lived through it with lots of heel groups. So it's exhausting when this group could have been so much more.
Yeah, and at least with the Bloodline, like some of the endings were very good.
Yeah.
Some of them were non-Bloodline related endings, or at least Bloodline interference related endings, at least in the beginning where you had like Roman versus Jey Uso and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The Hell in a Cell match ended, I think it was Hell in a Cell, ended in a pretty cool way with Jay giving up because Roman was going to kill Jimmy.
Yeah.
So they had interesting endings, and then the Bloodline formally came together, and then it was up and down.
Yeah.
It was very up and down. But this has mostly been down, and just when it starts to go back up a little bit, you have Sunday where it wasn't interesting match, Death Riders finish. It was bad match, Death Riders finish.
Yeah.
So, and it wasn't even that much Death Rider, it was just one Death Rider. So
yeah,
it made it even worse. And then now we go back to what was the norm, and it ends up with this very flat finish.
Bummer.
All right. let's move on to something else that had a bit of a wonkier finish, but we go back to the top of the card as we saw Orange Cassidy, Mark Davis, Ricochet, and the aforementioned Speedball Mike Bailey face off against each other in the Dynasty International Championship Eliminator Tournament Final. Once again, that is a lot to say, Tony Khan. Obviously, that carny piece of shit, Don Callis, came down for commentary. He was Don. Anyway, after Bailey and Davis went back and forth with victory rolls, Bailey got up and hit a PK, followed up by the moonsault knee drop. Bailey then went into the corner to line up Davis for the time adventure, but Ricochet jumped up on the apron and interfered by grabbing Bailey's hair. So Speedball is forced to turn around and kick him off the apron, allowing Davis the time to recover and charge at Bailey. Speedball, though, ducks this attack and sends Davis into the turnbuckle. And then when Davis bounces off the turnbuckles, Bailey attempts a backslide. However, with Davis's size, Bailey's not able to do it very quickly. So Ricochet was able to jump up into the ring and also join in the pinfall, putting his feet up on the ropes. Both men combined to keep Davis down for the 3, ending the match. And then after some discussion with Justin Roberts, referee Bryce Remsburg rules that both men will be going on to face Kenny Omega for the International Championship at Dynasty as a result of a double pinfall. So, James, this was a wild one. This was great. They gave it a bunch of time. I thought everybody looked phenomenal. Speedball was able to – he looked – yeah. He looked like a speedball. He was bouncing around all over the place, getting his kicks in. He looked great. Davis looked like an absolute hoss in this match. I think definitely the best one he's had since returning from his injury. You had Ricochet being this really smarmy heel. He was picking his spots. He jumped on commentary at one point, which was really funny. And then Ricochet stole Excalibur's headphones. Yeah. And when it all ended, Schiavone apologized to everybody. And then he goes, "Sorry, Excalibur. Ricochet asked for my headphones, and I told him to take yours," which popped everybody. So Ricochet just looked great. And then Orange also looked great, but he also at a certain point was grabbing his right bicep. So they mentioned on commentary he had faced Hechicero last week, and maybe it was a result of an injury from that, in kayfabe. But I honestly thought the same thing you guys did. Not sure. Hopefully it wasn't real. He was able to finish up the match, but this was a great 4-way match. All the men look phenomenal. And now we have 2 people we wanted to see face off against Kenny going against him for the International Championship. So I thought this was a very good and clever ending that gave us everything we wanted, or almost everything.
100% agree with you. This match over-delivered, in my opinion. I was not expecting. Like, I knew it was going to be fun. I knew I was going to enjoy it, but I could not fathom how much I ended up enjoying it. Davis, this is the first time he's gotten me invested in one of the matchups he's done. He killed it. He played such a good big man in this match, such a juggernaut in this match. It was great. Speedball really connect. That crowd was clamoring for him
over Orange too, which
is my god,
not difficult, or excuse me, very difficult to do in AEW.
And he just keeps showing off. Schiavone said it. It's like he's not some rookie, but at the same time, he's still so impressed with everything he's brought to AEW in these 2 weeks that he's been here, and bringing a whole new definition of speed is what Schiavone said, and I love that. I'm so happy for Speedball. I think he killed it. Ricochet, brilliant wrestling for this character. In commentary, specifically Callis, really played it up that he knew when to get involved in the matchup. He wasn't looking to be wrestling a lot. He was looking in to pick the spots, to come in, pick the bones of whatever was left. And we saw him do that on several occasions, including the finish.
I love when Ricochet had the headset on. He was like, "I'm going to let Davis do all the work," and Don was like, "I should probably charge you."
Callis could be really good on commentary.
He's great on commentary. He was great when he was doing New Japan. So,
Orange, I really hope I'm getting worked, but I am kind of legitimately concerned because it really felt like he was supposed to have been involved in the finish. It really, we're going to look at the comments in a second. It really looked like Orange, like Maria made a joke here. We had a fatal 4-way to determine a triple threat. I kind of think we were going to have a fatal 4-way to determine another fatal 4-way. I think everybody was going to pin Davis. I think Orange was going to do it. I think Speedball was going to do it. And I think Ricochet was going to do it. And it ended up just not happening because Orange was gone. And the only reason I'm sort of leaning that might have happened is because they did not show him on camera for the finish of the match and for the aftermath of the match at all. Like, he didn't, like, there was no selling, oh, I lost or anything. He was just gone off camera. So I hope I'm being worked, but I am a little worried about Orange. So yeah, all of these guys just absolutely killed it. And Kenny versus Speedball would have been amazing. Kenny versus Ricochet would have been amazing. Kenny versus both of these guys is going to be amazing.
Yeah, I'm just was trying to quickly check Squared Circle to see if anybody.
I haven't seen anything myself.
Yeah.
While you were searching, I'll go through the comments real quick. You know, it's saying math is overrated in regards to the fatal 4-way determining the triple threat. You are correct, sir. This is why we all have calculators.
I was told that there would be no math.
Maria saying Mike Bailey crushed it. This is legitimately, this is just the tip of the iceberg. I cannot wait for you guys to get more and more acquainted with Speedball. You know, it's saying that Orange was so mad about it, he peeled out of the parking lot after the show.
But
Ooh, there you go. And you know it, praising himself. Don't pat yourself on the back too hard, you know it, saying joke of the year, book it.
Yeah, you don't want to pull your bicep either. I'm not seeing anything on Orange at the moment. But I will say early in the match, because despite how good this match was, it was also really funny. And we got that early with the interaction with Orange and Speedball, where Speedball hit a bunch of quick leaping kicks. I think it was to Ricochet before sending him out of the ring. And then Orange came in and hit his very weak kicks, but also jumping ones. And that actually baited Speedball in. Speedball got by Orange. And Orange outmaneuvered him, much to the surprise of Bailey. So that was really funny. And Ricochet throughout the night trying to get Orange and Bailey to work against Davis and keeping himself out of it was also great. Like, he did that multiple times throughout the match, including one where Speedball and Orange just looked at each other like, we're not going after Davis, and they just threw Ricochet into a boot. Even the start of the match when Davis tried to go for the test of strength, and the other two guys did it, and Orange just refused. It's just like, I'm not doing that. I'm Orange Cassidy. So this was I don't want to say perfect match, but it was a near perfect match just because it had those comedy elements with Orange. Every guy was able to show off both their wrestling skills and their character work, I thought, very well. Yeah. Commentary was on point from them not only being informative, but funny, and for some reason talking about how big Davis's ass was on one occasion.
They really did make a big comment about that.
Yeah.
That was weird.
And Remsburg did a great job at the finish there too. So honestly, this was a near perfect, if not perfect, match out of these men. So great job to them. Great way to start the show. A lot of energy in this match, and then therefore the crowd. So I love this. Beautifully done. And I think because a lot of stuff got cut from this show, I'm gonna guess there was a lot of pre-tapes people couldn't do, because I know a lot of people were scrambling to get there towards like just the start of the show. Yeah, I think Meltzer was saying guys and girls were flying into Kansas City and other nearby airports and driving over. So I think they just missed a bunch of pre-tapes, and that allowed a lot of these matches, I believe, to get more time than they would have. Because this got 2 full segments.
I am not complaining.
Yeah, especially with this one. So great job out of them. After this, we came back real quick. We had a Hurt Syndicate video package. I don't think anything happened in that, James, but I missed it.
Nothing major happened.
Yeah, major happened.
I think it was more to set up MJF's promo.
Yes. Well, that came a bit later. Yeah. But after that, we saw our next match, which was Mercedes Moné versus Billie Starkz for the TBS Championship. I don't think, is this Billie's first Dynamite match? I don't recall.
I think so. Unless she had one like a while back, like a long while back.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out if she had one like when she was like a kid, maybe jobbed or something.
Yeah,
but
I don't really remember. I don't think so.
This is her first one as like Billie fucking Starkz, though.
Yeah.
So, and boy, does she show out. I will jump towards the end here where Billie got a nasty near fall on Mercedes after Billie spiked her from an electric chair and went into the pin, where Mercedes was able to get her foot in the ropes to break it up. Starkz then went off top and attempted a senton, but Mercedes rolled out of the way and Billie landed back first on the apron. Mercedes quickly took advantage of that, pulling Billie into the legal part of the ring and rolling her up. And when Billie kicked out, Mercedes immediately transitioned into the statement maker, forcing Starkz to tap. After the bell, Mercedes held on for a bit extra to teach Billie a lesson before she eventually broke the hold. So, James, like I said, Billie really showed up and showed out for this match. I think a lot of people, this might have been their first exposure to her and how good she is. I've seen her wrestle before, but not to this extent. So it was really cool seeing her go up against somebody like Mercedes. And considering how young she is, I believe she's still only 19. She not only looked like she belonged in the ring with Mercedes, but she looked like she belonged, she deserved to have that title or could, do well enough in the ring carrying that. So great job out of her. Great job out of Mercedes. And with 2 for 2 to open the night with matches.
Yep. No, just banger after banger after banger. Billie is 20, which, oh my God, like not that big a deal of a difference. Like 20 is insane for how good she is.
Yeah.
She has been putting in the work in Ring of Honor, and Minion number Athena demoted her to like a ridiculously high number. She's killing it. She's killing it. If you're a Ring of Honor faithful, if you've been watching Ring of Honor or even just the big matches at Ring of Honor, Billie has been there and she's been killing it. She's been getting better and better and better. Mercedes really did put her over. Mercedes really, she really let her get some spots in. But we know. I almost would rather we kind of cover the segment later on too, like we combine it into this. Yeah, this is an appetizer. And that's not a knock on Billie. Billie is incredible. She had a great match, and I'm glad that she got to show up on TV. But this was the appetizer for something much, much bigger. And I am so excited. So excited.
Yeah, before we get into that later segment, do we want to talk about that electric chair?
That was terrifying. Like, I don't know if she did anything wrong. Like, I got to look at what that move is again. I'm pretty sure it is her finish. Like, it's scary, but nothing looked bad in how it landed. It just, that's not a move I want to see hit all that often because Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it was wild. Watching it back, it looked like Billie was having a bit of a hard time getting Mercedes, or at least the back of Mercedes' head. And I don't know if that was something like Mercedes maybe had to duck more or she just missed with the hair, like whatever it was. Yeah. So I thought Mercedes got a little under-rotated, but at least at first. But looking back on it, she landed more on her shoulders than I thought she did. Yeah. So if that is Billie's finisher, good God. Yeah. That's frightening, but in a good way, because that was vicious. And Mercedes, she sells like death because she's so small and like ragdolly that I like you could see her, like her leg just flopped into the rope. It didn't even hit the rope. It just kind of fell into it by accident.
I'm looking at some of Billie's stuff, and that is a move she hits regularly. I don't know if it's her finish.
Yeah, okay, but it is definitely part of her banned word set.
That is part of the repertoire. And the level of trust. I don't know that I could do it.
Yeah, especially with a 20-year-old. Like, I know she's been wrestling for like 6 years or something, but jeez.
My God.
That's a good one. I know that's probably not a move she can hit on everybody, but that's a good move to have in your arsenal.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's saying he thinks it was Billie's second Dynamite match because she had one on her birthday, but he could be wrong. Yeah, you might have to cage match. All right, while you do that, we will, as per request from James, head towards the end of the show. This was right before the main event where we came back from commercial to Mercedes Moné having a backstage interview with Renee Paquette. Renee starts off by congratulating Mercedes for once again having a successful title defense. I believe there's now 16 of them that she's had for the TBS Championship. Before asking what Mercedes thought about Billie Starkz, Mercedes said that Billie had a lot of heart, but it's going to take a lot more than heart to beat her. Mercedes then asks, who trained that quote-unquote stupid kid, saying whoever did so knows nothing about wrestling. Maybe if Mercedes herself had trained Billie, then Billie might have had a chance. Just kidding, because nobody is ever beating Mercedes. Doesn't matter who they are, who's trained them, or anything like that. But all this to say, James, that you called this an appetizer for what's coming, and this is the continued teaser of what that is, and that is very clearly Mercedes Moné versus Athena.
Please. My only weird thing is that feels like a match that should be happening at All In. And we are a way away from All In.
So do you think a Dynasty? Because I agree with you. I think it should happen at All In.
No, it can't happen at Dynasty. That's like 2 weeks of build for a matchup that people have been wanting for far too long.
Very fair.
I mean, that's not to say they won't do it, but I would be very disappointed if they just dropped it on us. Be ready, people. Athena is... I can't... I don't want to say legit because I feel like it undersells how good she's become and how dominant she is. And the Athena we last saw on AEW TV years ago at this point is not the Athena that exists today.
I forgot she was even on AEW television. I think the only recollection I have on her being AEW anything is 0 hours before. Like
she was partnering with Statlander when they were deciding who was going for the women's title. This was when Jade Cargill was still TBS champion.
Okay, yeah, I remember Athena still being there.
Yeah, and I forget who the women's champion would have been at that point. Maybe Thunder? No.
Might have been Tony Storm.
maybe. So,
like Outsiders Tony Storm, or Outcast Tony Storm.
It's been a long time, and this is going to be sick. It's going to be so cool.
Yeah. Now, I'm curious to see when they do bring Athena. I don't even want to say up. I want to say over because, it's March and All In's in June. That's a lot of time. July. Can I not read? I can't read. Yeah, it's July 12th. So that's what? Like 3.5 months? Again, I was told there would be no math. But that's a long ass time. That's a lot of build they have to do. I mean, that's a lot of build they have the time to do, but Mercedes is going to need other challengers. Like, hell, I almost would love to see Mercedes go on an excursion again really quick just to keep her away. And then, this way you don't have to kill 3.5 months.
Yeah.
So,
if they, I'm not thrilled at the notion, but if they wanted to figure out, All In being, the rubber match between the two of them, fine. I still wouldn't do that. I would still have their first matchup be at All In, but I'm open. I am open to seeing what they've got.
Yeah, I agree. I think I would want their first match to be All In, but I kind of trust Tony, and I trust the women too to figure out how to put on 3 absolute banger matches. So it'd be crazy to me if this happened at Dynasty. It'd be a little less wild, but still surprising if it happened at the pay-per-view after.
Yeah.
But I no doubt in my mind they're facing each other at all in some capacity. All right, let's keep it rolling. After the Moné Starkz match, we went to a backstage promo from MJF. I believe this was actually we came back from commercial before. Oh no, actually it wasn't. We first had the Outrunners hype up the Omaha Mavericks for they are in March Madness. They are, I believe, a 15 seed taking on St. John's. This is the team that they kicked the shit out of the trash can and the Outrunners went a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
So they did a cool little hype package for this, a little brand synergy, since the tournament is on all three of Turner's major broadcasting networks. And so they just did a little bit of that. And then we went backstage with MJF, who don't know if he was there, but they made it look like he was at least in one of the locker rooms.
Yeah, right? Like, I wouldn't be shocked if they had him just do a locker room at a local area to him.
Yeah.
But
somewhere in Plainview, Long Island, New York, where it was very nice out today.
Yes.
Anyway, MJF starts off by going through the different people that everyone thinks might win the AEW championship. I believe he brought up Darby, Hangman. I think he also mentioned Swerve, considering Swerve is the number one contender.
Yeah.
However, he says that with all the betting going on this month, he is the only true stallion to bet on. He then says he's been looking also a lot at the card that MVP has given to him, saying it might be time to have a click around him since Dictator John has so many flunkies guarding him and allowing him to retain the AEW championship.
I love that he still calls him Dictator John, by the way. We're going back to year one of AEW, and he's still using this nickname against Mox.
He always calls Hangman, was he Seabiscuit, right?
Yeah.
He's always called Hangman Seabiscuit. So, and funny enough, Dictator John is probably what fits him most right now.
Yeah. No, seriously. Never has it been more appropriate.
Yeah. I mean, you know, Hangman might always be right, but MJF is rarely wrong. Anyway, MJF goes on to say that last time he had a partner, he got burned pretty bad, so he's a little hesitant to join up with anybody again. Therefore, he's going to give MVP his answer next week, but in the meantime, he's going to leave everyone with the idea that he is no longer going to be crying over spilt milk. So I think, James, even if he says no to MVP next week, which would be a little surprising in some capacity, although I don't really know, but either way, even if he says no, we are definitely going to see an MJF with much more of a sharper edge, I think, than we have recently. A guy who's a lot more violent. I think even a little more akin to the guy who was trying to break Daniel Garcia's neck.
Yeah.
I think we're going to go back to more of that MJF. And the guy who, a guy, I was just trying to think of like the most recent one. And also a guy, too, who is really going for the jugular on the microphone, as opposed to taking the low-hanging fruit that we had been talking about just about a month ago.
No,
okay.
I think you just nailed it. I'm sorry. Like, it's one of those things that MJF is not my favorite talent, but he's one that I am probably the most invested in. And it's not that he's not my favorite talent because I don't like him. I know how amazing he is. It's just I have so many favorites in AEW, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But he is somebody who I know is so capable of greatness. He is so capable of being one of their absolute best. And I don't ever want to say that, like, he's phoning it in, but you can tell when he's super passionate about something and he's super invested in something. So I think the Hangman feud was a great beginning or return to form a little bit. And I'm hoping this continues that edge, like you mentioned, that Adam Copeland, if you will.
You know, it's funny because I, mentioned a month ago and how he was, I don't want to say taking it easy or not invested the way you were saying it, but I think now that Jarrett promo might have almost been that bad on purpose.
Yeah.
Like he was doing it he was being like almost so lame about it that it allowed him to go up against Hangman, who called him on like, you're a joke right now.
Yeah.
And it really set him off at him being MJF. And it allowed him to turn back around into this corner where he is now, the devil that we all once knew and loved, essentially. So I don't know if it was that bad on purpose, but it kind of makes sense in a weird way. That or it was the greatest pivot ever.
I mean, AEW is known for it from time to time.
Yeah. Maria saying that MJF is special. He can always be a Flair or $1 Million Man type of heel.
I agree.
Knows he has paid off enough people, $1 Million Man style. And you know what? Making a very bold prediction that he thinks MJF is going to be bringing in a new group.
Oh, I mean, I don't know who's out there, but fuck it, bring him.
Well, Eddie's not coming back this summer, so that's not happening. But yeah, I'm curious. I don't think Wardlow would be good with him again. It seems like such a regression.
I agree, but at this point, I would rather a regression than fucking nothing.
Yeah.
And that's where granted, I know he's coming back from injury. I know he's injured right now, which is why we haven't seen him. I'll still take it.
He was seen backstage recently, which is why he was the first name I brought up.
Okay, I didn't know that, but that's interesting to know.
Yeah. Now he also might have just been in his town, so that might have been
still. My main thing is I am terrified. Terrified's not the right word. I fully believe we'll see him in a WWE ring sooner than later.
Wardlow?
Yeah. And while I think he might actually benefit from that, I feel like I never want to see these AEW guys, like pure and through AEW guys, go over to WWE, you know?
Yeah.
Like the Jade Cargills and the Ricky Starks hurt more than the Ethan Pages or the CM Punks, you know?
Yeah. Punk's his own separate category. Yeah, Page hurt a little bit because he had never really been in WWE. So
yeah,
you know, there's always like three categories for me. There's like AEW guys, there's like the indie guys who also have been in AEW, and then there's like former WWE guys, and Page kind of fell in that second one.
Yeah. Mr. TNA.
Yeah. Maria saying that Josh Alexander could also possibly come in as an enforcer. He has recently been signed.
I wouldn't hate that. I mean, how would you feel about being taller than MJF's enforcer?
I mean, I'm taller than MJF, so.
But you'd fit as the enforcer.
That's very true. You can just be one of them, you know? I mean, as you know, it's saying group means more than one person, so it could be Wardlow, it could be Josh Alexander, along with Maria's saying there's no room for Wardlow in WWE with Fatu, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed. I mean, I think Wardlow would end up in NXT.
Yeah.
I think he needs that seasoning, especially I think he needs the promo classes, and I think he would run roughshod down there because they have some big dudes down there. Like Oba's a big guy, but they don't really have big dudes like him.
Yeah, yeah. Oba, Trick.
Yeah, those big dudes. Yeah. All right. After the MJF promo, we had the Moxley Copeland match, which we covered already. And then we went backstage for an interview with Bandido. They led off by showing a quick recap, once again, of what happened on 0 Hour a few weekends ago when Jericho jumped Bandido's brother Gravity and stole his mask and then kicked the shit out of Bandido in front of their mother and sister. So Renee asked him about the attack on Bandido and his family. And Bandido said that what Jericho did was humiliating, saying that Jericho better show up on Sunday for Collision like a man and return his brother's mask. Johnny TV then came over and interrupted and laughed at Bandido for crying like a puppy on the pay-per-view, saying it doesn't do ratings. But what does do ratings is him slam dunking Bandido's head on Sunday. Bandido accepts the challenge, and then we have this match made for Slam Dunk Sunday for Collision, the special edition after the Sunday games for the tournament. So that match is happening. I think Bandido messed up one of the days. I don't know if he's supposed to be seeing Jericho on Saturday or Sunday. I don't think there's a match between them, but we did get that match. And I am still assuming Bandido is challenging for the Ring of Honor title at some point. Yeah, and hopefully
probably Super Card of Honor.
Yeah.
If they're doing it WrestleMania weekend. I don't know what their plan is right now. But I got to say, I've never heard Bandido speak before. And I don't know what I was expecting. But it wasn't that voice. It was a lot more boyish than I thought it would be.
Yeah, I guess so. He just kind of sounded like a soft-spoken, Latino guy to me, you know? Like, it didn't, trip me out. Were you expecting, some, gravelly voice?
Kinda with the gimmick, yeah.
I can see that. His English was pretty good. You know,
His English was great. It's just the words. It was the voice in which he said them.
Yeah,
that was surprising. And I'm not being critical. All I'm saying is I wasn't expecting it. It threw me off a little.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. It happens sometimes. After this, we went to our next match, which was a bit of a surprise one, as we saw Will Ospreay face off against AR Fox. Ospreay basically just demanded a match on Twitter from Tony Khan. He was like, "Dude, I'm here. I have my gear. I flew all the way here from Britain. Like, I'm wrestling.
Yeah.
Screw you." And
there's a foot of snow outside, and I'm here. Make me wrestle.
Yeah, Tony was like, "All right, who wants to? Who do I have around to wrestle Will? That would be good." And AR Fox was the guy to do it. I think my biggest question was, how the hell is Will wrestling again? Because I said last week he wasn't going to wrestle to the Owen, and I was dead fucking wrong. I mean, good on you, mate. Like, how?
I think we're just too far out from the Owen to not have him wrestle till the Owen.
But no, it's not even that. It's just like, how is he physically capable? Like, I thought his hips were like sideways, and he's out there having another good match. I know Fox is a guy, they fought before, and he's that dude. They mirror each other very well, so the chemistry was obviously there, and it ended up in a very good match. So
it was fun. There is a contingent of people who aren't into AR Fox.
A certain boy who may or may not produce on occasion.
More not than does at this point, but not everybody on your roster can be an A-list talent. You need people in there that could have a good match and take losses, and it's not going to matter for them. That's who AR Fox is, and I feel bad. I don't. Yeah. I never want anybody to be in that spot, but you need people in that spot, and he fits that spot pretty well. They had a good matchup. They had a very good matchup. Will wins, as he should. AR Fox loses, as he should.
Yep. Respect shown between the two.
Yep.
But, Fox is a guy. He's a vet. He's a very good hand. I think he wins sometimes on Ring of Honor, so it's not like he's an absolute jobber.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes you just need a guy who's going to go out and have a good match with one of your stars, and it's going to be a good one. And this was it. We saw it a few weeks ago with Fox, where he faced off against Swerve and Ricochet. Also, we had to make Lucha Underground references, which is that's why that also happened. But it made a lot of sense. So I liked it. I liked this a lot. It did end with Fox had a low main pain that Ospreay kicked out of, and then Fox immediately went up top, attempted the 450, but Will rolled out of the way. No water in the pool. Will immediately hits a hidden blade for the W. So nothing groundbreaking out of this, but the crowd got to see Will Ospreay wrestle after going through all of that snow, and they got to see him wrestle a good match. So, again, I'm just still shocked Will is looking this good this shortly after that cage match. But I really thought his hips were just completely out of whack.
Let's go to the comments real quick. Maria saying that she has heard him speak before.
Him being Bandido.
Yeah. And that she believes that he is taking the ROH championship from Jericho.
Yes, bandwagon.
He feels like the most believable guy to do it at this point. It's saying that he's young. So what did I expect him to sound like? He's 29. He's not that young.
Well, from what it says, so he might think that's young.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Whippersnapper. Vigilante. I got it. Vigilante saying it really pisses him off when they customize weapons. Natural wood with embedded nails has much more impact. There's no need to paint it black. I think it's just for aesthetics. I'm not gonna argue. It's pure taste at that point, Vigilante. So that's fair if that doesn't do it for you. No matter what, though, black or natural wood finish, nails is gonna hurt. And it hurt tonight. Yeah. I would, if I had that driven into my back, I wouldn't care how it looked. I would just be upset that it's there.
I can see being annoyed, like the kendo stick in that match for the Copeland Moxley match was like weirdly painted black, and it confused Shivani. So that was just like, all right, that seems unnecessary unless it's not made from bamboo, which would be wild. But Yeah, I don't know. For the for Spike, I don't mind it that much. I think it makes it look cooler. It just makes it look menacing.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was painted or stained or whatever, but it looks cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
Maria saying that AR needs to go somewhere else. I'll be honest, I don't know where he can go.
He's not going to WWE. I mean, TNA could use him, but
just because they need bodies at this point. And
but he's going to be in the same spot.
Yeah, I don't want to make it seem like we don't like AR Fox. We do.
I'm a big fan.
I really appreciate AR Fox.
He's from Connecticut too, so try to stay a local guy for us. Yeah,
I didn't know that, but we like AR Fox. It's just a tough spot to be in, and at his age, which he's not young, he's not old, but he's not a kid either. I think he's doing the best he's going to be doing.
Yeah, he's 37, so
yeah,
I feel like this is a really good spot for him, in my opinion.
Yeah, but hey, maybe success is somewhere else for him. In which case, I'm rooting for him. But I think this is the best spot for him. It's saying it's good for the economy. Painting
the thing.
It on fire tonight. Maria saying Will is the best pound for pound in the world. Look,
I'd be hard pressed to argue that.
There are very few names that can compete. I'd say it's Kenny Omega. I'd say it's Will Ospreay. Brian's retired, so he's out of the conversation. But maybe Okada.
Okada recently, I know he still got it, but he's
just choosing not to wrestle that style right now.
He hasn't been doing it the way he's been doing it, or we know he can do it.
Yeah, I would throw in probably AJ when he's allowed to go. When he decides he's going full gear, he can do it.
Full gear, really?
I'm really glad you watched that pay-per-view the last couple of days.
I've been watching a few and just been posting on Blue Sky about them, and people are enjoying me watching them.
Yeah. And maybe Yoda Tsuji from New Japan.
Ooh, peaceful.
It's a tight list. It's a very, very, very tight list. So, although I'm just saying, keep your eye on Speedball. Keep your eye on Speedball. Maybe
how old is he?
Oh, he's early 30s. Hold on.
Oh, is it our age?
Give or take.
It's saying it's Kenny, Will, and then Spike Dudley and everybody else. Spike Dudley reference drink.
Speedball is 34. So mid 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, all right. He's got a lot of time. He is good. I'll tell you what, he definitely lives up to the nickname Speedball.
Oh my God.
Fast as fuck.
Dude is bouncing around. bouncing. But all right. Let's keep moving. Let's keep this party going.
And our next segment was a backstage interview, this time with one Hangman Adam Page. This followed a quick promo package for Swerve versus Moxley, recounting some of their most recent interactions. I think Mox stomped out Swerve's head on Collision last week, and Swerve winning the number one contender spot. So we had all that, and then Renee asked Heyman his thoughts about the Swerve versus Moxley match becoming official. Heyman says that he once said he would never allow Swerve to hold the AEW championship ever again, and he intends on being a man of his word. However, he is not going to allow one man to monopolize his time, saying that there have been a lot of people jumping the gun and declaring for the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. So he announces he'll be entering, saying that he is going to win and then go on to become the World Heavyweight Champion once again. So Hangman is now in that tournament. Ospreay is now in that tournament. Yep. Holy shit, this tournament's going to be good. I don't know who else is declared, but Jay White's got to be in that tournament the way he's been talking. Yeah. So just those three guys right there makes it stacked.
And somehow Darby is going to be the one who wins it.
I can see if he's back, which again, we've been saying that big if word a lot recently because we just do not know his schedule at the moment. I could see them bringing him back as a wild card for the Owen, unannounced. I think that would be cool, but
sure. I feel bad because I love Darby, but the resentment is building.
It's weird. I don't think you're resenting Darby. I think you're really just resenting the Moxley stuff going so long. And we all think it's because we don't know what Darby's doing. And
it's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
And Tony's dead set on putting the title on him. But I don't know Darby's plans. The Everest thing might not be true anymore.
No,
and maybe Tony told him.
No. He that's the whole. He hasn't been on TV in months. No, he is absolutely doing this Everest thing, and good on him. If that's that's his life. He wants to do what he wants to do. I respect it. You are in a position to be the world champion of a major wrestling promotion. Fucking win the belt. No salute to him. He doesn't deserve it. Take that belt, climb the mountain, take a selfie with the belt on top of the goddamn mountain. It writes itself, SpongeBob.
I mean, I don't like absentee champions, especially one like Darby, but
how long does it take to climb a mountain? A day? 2 days?
Well, months. Getting there, it takes a while, man. That's not a one-day thing.
I don't know. Take an Uber. How long could it take?
I think it's like 3 or 4 days to get up the side of Everest because you have to stop multiple times to make camp and stuff. It's a lot. But that being said, I was going to say, if you have an absentee champion, there are enough titles to cover. But I don't like the idea of the AEW Championship.
No, I agree.
Not being around in any capacity.
I'm just upset. I'm not happy.
You're okay? You're upset? Okay.
Thank you. I feel seen. I feel heard. Thank you.
Let's move on to our main events. After this, we had a quick Julia Hart, Queen Mamanada Part 3 promo package, and then a Mercedes backstage interview before we got to Kris Statlander versus Megan Bayne with the AEW Women's Champion Timeless Toni Storm on commentary.
With Luther.
Yes, Luther was also there. And we had Penelope Ford accompany Megan Bayne out to ringside. However, she got thrown out about 3/4 of the way through the match after she got caught interfering by Aubrey, which led to Tony saying, "Goodbye, sugar tits," which completely broke Excalibur, saying, some say potatoes, some say potato, in terms of describing her getting thrown out. Honestly, I missed some of this match because I was laughing so hard at Tony. Yeah. But towards the end of the match, Bayne and Statlander were fighting on the outside, and Bayne threw Stat into the ring apron before grabbing her and turning around and tossing her into Toni Storm, who was obviously sitting at the announce desk. Bayne then followed that up with a, oh my God, I keep writing, it's not Fate's Descent. There we go. I don't know why I keep writing Desire. Fate's Descent on the outside.
I know why you're using the word desire.
It's from something else, I'm pretty sure. Before returning Statlander to the ring and hitting another Fate's Descent to pick up the win. After the match, and kind of during the finish of it, Toni Storm jumped up on the table and began taping up her hands. And when Bayne eventually saw her doing so, Toni ran into the ring and the two began an absolute hockey fight until security came down and pulled them apart. Bayne was able to briefly break away and push Toni before they were pulled apart again. And then Toni came over and just sent Bayne flying out of the ring, where she stayed slightly at the behest of security and slightly because she was so shocked that Toni was able to push her out of the ring. Yeah. Toni grabbed the mic and starts off by exclaiming, "My God, you're a big bitch." She then says that, which something she always says, the bigger they are, the harder they come. So it's about the time the two of them got tantric, which is a word I haven't heard in a while. Great word. She says Bayne keeps looking at her title, but Bayne doesn't have much to say, so Toni makes it easy and challenges her to a match at Dynasty. It will be there where Toni makes Bayne's thighs shake and her body quake, and Toni will leave with the strap on, for she is Timeless Toni Storm, and she will rip your tits off. So Toni got about 2 minutes of mic time here and plugged in more innuendos than I probably ever could in an hour and a half show.
Oh my God.
Go ahead, James.
I don't know how to talk about it. I don't know what to say that doesn't feel inappropriate.
I mean, I'm red because I'm laughing so hard. I think you're just flustered.
All right, match itself, amazing.
Banger. Big meaty women slapping meat.
Oh God, the meat was slapped during that match. But they killed it. We know how good Stat is. And you and I know how good Megan Bayne is.
Yep.
The world got to see how good Megan Bayne is now.
This felt like the match the first time we saw her at House of Glory.
Yeah, against Lena Cross. Yeah.
Yes, that absolute banger against Cross where I was like, okay, this is the Megan Bayne I want to see in AEW.
Yes.
And I thought we were going to get it in the first Statlander match. You kind of saw, some glimpses of it.
Yeah.
But I said then, and I was right, they were probably holding back because they were going to have another match.
Yeah.
And they didn't hold back too much on this one.
Oh, this match. Again, on a night where when every match delivered and some over-delivered, this also over-delivered. Just absolutely amazing. We were not arguing, but we were discussing why was this match the main event over the world title match? And I think Maria kind of nailed it a little bit here in this comment that Megan looked and felt like a huge star. And I think it's just because of how she's not that she's not earning it, not that she's not deserving of that, but her presentation is amazing.
Yeah.
How many women come in and this early in their run are main eventing Dynamites?
How many women have main evented Dynamite? Period.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's got to be under 20.
So I'm loving how she's being presented. I feel bad for Stat going 0-2 here against her. It's unfortunately the right move.
I think so too. One of them was dirty. This one, I wouldn't call it dirty, but Tony was kind of involved, so Statlander could maybe.
It wasn't squeaky clean, but it was an earned victory. It was a dominant victory.
Yeah, and Statlander took two of Bayne's finishers, one on the outside, so they made Statlander not only look strong but look amazing in this match because she absolutely killed it. But if you want to make a star quickly, this is how you do it. You have her come in and beat Kris Statlander, former TBS champion, and one of the most over women on the card. You have that person beat them twice, in a very short amount of time. Yeah. So I thought this was great for her. She looks like an absolute star, as Maria said, and she just got catapulted right into the AEW women's title picture, and she now has a match for that title at Dynasty. So this was great all around.
No, 1,000%. Love the matchup. I'm sure they're going to cross paths again one day.
Yep.
And Tony killed it. I don't really know how to talk about it, but it was fantastic. It's so in character for her lunacy. It's so in character for her silliness, and I appreciate it. It makes me blush a little bit, but it was great. In regards to Tony, because not only I thought her promo was great, her commentary work was great, and not just in her cracking Taz and Shivani and Excalibur the entire time, but towards the end of that match, she just goes, "I'm nervous," and Excalibur's like, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "Do you see the power in the ring right now? Like, I'm nervous." Yeah. So she put over both of these women something fierce there. Now, granted, she got over it and went in the ring and kicked ass, but she, looked genuinely terrified when they cut to her of both Statlander and Bayne. And considering Bayne beat known powerhouse Statlander, that's got to shake you a little bit, even if you are the champ. So great job by Tony, but on commentary too. She helped make Bayne even look like more of a star. I know we joke about it, but the School of Jericho here, where put over your opponent. So if they beat you, it's understandable why they beat you. And if you beat them, it makes it feel like a big deal. So absolutely well done by Tony. And I think this match is going to be amazing. I mean, I don't think it's an unrealistic expectation for this match to be amazing.
Yeah, I think so, because Bayne can go. We know that, and Tony can go. So I think it's going to be a much different dynamic, I think, than we've seen for most of Tony's title defenses, just because of who she's facing and the size of Megan, because she not only has the size but the strength to use it too. So it's going to be a very interesting matchup to watch, and hopefully those two styles mesh well, and we get a good styles make fights type of thing.
Yeah.
I wanted to duck into the comments really quick concerning this match, or some more of them. It's saying he was wondering the last time we saw two women having to be broken apart on TV, because we see it all the time on the men's side, but
it's a good question.
We see it sometimes, I feel like, backstage in both AEW and WWE, but you very rarely see security spill out like this.
For a pull apart. Did Tony and Mariah get one?
I was going to say, I think Tony and Mariah got one at some point.
Yeah.
So, non-Tony Storm division, I can't really think of the last one in the ring, but Tony's usually good for one every once in a while. Mercedes saying, at Dynasty, Tony... Did I say...
You said Mercedes.
I did it again? Why do I keep doing that?
I don't know.
Or maybe it's just a bit.
The world may never know.
At Dynasty, Tony will take down Megan and Mercedes. No, that's why, because I read Mercedes again. Mercedes gets past Athena, and at All In, you have Timeless versus Mercedes, winner take all. Maybe. I don't know. I think in the future, Mercedes might end up being the one to take the title off of Tony.
Yeah.
So they would probably not do that at All In. Henrietta's on your...
I know.
Oh, I thought she was on your bookshelf. All right, she's just on your chair. Also, Henrietta made an appearance. Finish your drink. Maria bringing up an interesting point, and I kind of agree with her. Say Megan replaced Jade in AEW. Commenting that except Megan can actually wrestle. She's definitely better because she's had a lot more seasoning. Jade obviously was a project, and it wasn't necessarily a finished product when she had the title, and she's still not a finished product in WWE. Yeah, but she is kind of filling that role as powerhouse, especially one opposite Statlander.
I think Stat filled that role immediately after Jade, especially being the person to beat Jade.
Yeah.
But I see how it fits Megan a lot better.
Yeah. Well, it's heel powerhouse, and Stat was like face powerhouse. And then the two of them collided. Jade left, and then there was kind of that vacuum there. And, we might get just keep calling Mercedes. If you keep typing it in the thing, I'm going to try to read it and go in at the same time. And my brain apparently just can't do multiple M names.
You see this, Maria? Victim blaming. Victim blaming in the chat.
No, I'm blaming my stupid brain for overclocking. But I was going to say we might end up with multiple heel powerhouses because Tony Khan was teasing Camille's return at some point. So you mentioned...
Very intriguing.
Yeah. I don't know if she got hurt or, I don't know, maybe she got married when I don't know what happened. But I could probably Google it, but I'm not going to. I don't know where she ended up, but I did. Tony teased that she was attacked, and eventually, we have to presume that she'll return and probably go after her attacker, whether that's Mercedes or otherwise. So, we'll see what happens there, and then you can have. I think we did see Camille versus Statlander, but Camille versus Bayne also sounds like a good match. So, More female powerhouse. And we also got Willow floating around too. Bayne versus Willow is going to be a great one as well.
Yeah.
So I know everyone says NXT is the most stacked women's division. AEW's got a deep one. Tony Khan just doesn't use it as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. NXT is the most well-utilized division.
Yeah.
And that's not a knock, but it's just the talent is there and they're booked like it. As opposed to AEW where the talent is there and we get a fraction of it.
Yeah. I also think too, I've read this, I'm kind of stealing this from Squared Circle. A lot of people think that the NXT men's division isn't as strong, and it allows the women's division to take control of some of the episodes just because they don't have enough dudes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which
But
is kind of true.
It's true, but I feel that does also inadvertently take away from the women in NXT who are on a tear right now.
Yeah,
Stephanie Vicar, Jordan Grace, Jada Parker, Roxanne, Cora Jade, they're there.
Yeah, no, they are worthy of carrying the show because they are the better division.
Yeah.
You know, because of not just because the men are a little bit lackluster in NXT at the moment, just the women are that much better than them right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a cool dynamic to watch happen over there. And that show cooks. I don't watch it, but it does cook.
Yeah,
because you got Chef Shawn Michaels over there. Maria, see, I got it right this time, saying she wants to see Willow versus Marina first. That should happen.
I think that ship sailed. I think this was the last we're going to see them interacting. I think tonight was it.
Yeah, maybe. It's a little surprising they didn't get a match, but you know, maybe 0 Hour or Dynasty, maybe. But
I just feel like it continues onto an older feud because she was involved in Cope versus Mox.
Yeah.
So if she gloms onto Marina now, it kind of sticks to Swerve. And that's not to say that shouldn't happen or couldn't happen. I don't see it.
Yeah, I think I would agree. Maria also saying, don't forget about the vendetta. Trust me, James didn't forget.
Never.
Yeah. And, it's saying, I know some people hate the idea, but I want a women's show. Whether you want it for WWE or AEW, I think hardly matters because both deserve it. There were some rumors that WWE was considering doing another Evolution pay-per-view, so that's possible. I would like to see that. Again, that's going to be carried by NXT. I would love an episode where, even I don't care, it's Collision. Just give the women the whole episode. Have fun. Go after it, Tony. Do it one. But you have 3 episodes this week if you count Sunday. Like, you got 2 episodes of Collision. Throw all the women on one on Sunday. Who cares?
It's true.
It's gonna be Sunday night after the tournament. The ratings are gonna suck anyway. Yeah, fucking just put the women on it. What's it gonna hurt you?
Do it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's saying he wants a weekly show. I don't know.
Yeah, we had that. It was called Rampage, and then that got canceled.
I don't know about an official show that is just for the women because I want to be able to see them on my weekly TV. Like, if I'm watching Dynamite, I want to be able to enjoy Tony Storm the same way I want to be able to enjoy Kenny Omega, or the same way I want to be able to enjoy Swerve or Mercedes. So to add an extra, presumably minimum hour of television just for the women, I get how it benefits the women, but I also think it creates some problems in its own right.
Yeah, because they should be on equal footing as the men, and therefore they should be on stuff like Collision and Dynamite. Now, yes, Maria, James has been saying that the AEW should start a women's tag division for a while. I could see the concern with too many belts in the company.
I don't care. I don't give a shit. Do it. There are so many women. Do it.
Yeah.
Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford. Statlander and Willow. Thunder and Tony, apparently. What was their team way back in the day? Thunderstorm.
Yeah,
there you go. Harley and Saraya, if they ever bring Saraya back.
Jamie Hayter's when she gets back from her visa issues.
This is all just off the top of my head.
The Vendetta again.
The Vendetta! Give me what I want. Give me a women's tag division. Give me what I want. Please.
Honestly, they have the depth to do it, and it would be good. The time, I think, would be the issue, just because Tony has a hard enough time putting women on the show anyway.
But that's my point.
But because he would have to put the titles on the show, more women would probably get on the show. So I think it would end up working out a little bit.
Bingo. Yes. Check me.
Yeah. All right. On that note, that was Dynamite. James, as I said at the top of the show, this was an interesting one because of the logistical issues they had with the Blizzard. But I think it ended up being a very good show because this was mainly just an episode of wrestling.
Yeah.
And all of these matches, even if one of them had a really shitty ending, delivered and on what they promised to do. So great job of AEW, the talent and the staff putting together this episode. And just a great wrestling show tonight. I really had a good time watching it.
I did too. From the start of the show to the end of the show, I was thoroughly entertained, both sports or otherwise. So I no notes really. Love the Fatal 4-Way. Vendetta! No notes. Fatal 4-Ways was incredible. Main event was incredible. The world title match. We got a world title match. A better world title match than the first time around.
Yeah, and it was a very fun street fight. And yeah, just the finish, the choke out again, left a sour taste in my mouth. But I had a lot of fun watching it up until that point. So I'm not going to hate too much on it.
Exactly.
The execution was great.
Yeah.
So, you're doing terrific.
Next week we're going to be back at full power, and we're just we're inching closer and closer to Dynasty. So yeah, we'll talk then. We'll talk next week because I'm excited. I'm excited for this pay-per-view to the point that I'm really debating going.
Where is it at?
Philly. It's not that far. It's a day. It's a day trip. You know, you go in the morning, grab some food, come back at night.
Yeah, I mean Amtrak's fucking expensive, Amtrak, but
yeah,
it's not bad ride.
I've driven it the day of before. It's a 2-hour drive. It's a 2-hour drive. It's not fun, but it's not that bad.
Yeah, I've done it too. I went down to a Fairfield game at Drexel and came right back.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's possible. I mean, I'm not going to Philly, but
We'll talk.
They would, dude. I'm a Met fan. I'm not allowed to go to Philly.
If I could walk into Boston wearing a Yankee hat, you could go to Philly.
Yeah. It's different down there. But I have to agree. The bookend matches were great. You know, as you said, the fatal 4-way. Nope, not the fatal 4-way. Just the 4-way match to open it with a very creative ending. Big meaty women slapping meat to close it out, and then Tony cutting that promo to finish everything off. You know, for a little dessert was great, and everything in between. And I really liked after last week where we had it felt like a fairly promo heavy episode because it was post pay-per-view and so many people were hurt. We come back this week and on a bit of a shoestring roster, we put together just a wrestling show and we end up having the nice juxtaposition. So not hopefully, but I think next week will be a lot more balanced as we head closer and closer to, as Nigel going to say, Dynasty. Maria, before we go, saying, I love wrestling. I love it when my wrestling shows are actually wrestling shows. Yeah. I concur.
You and me both.
There's nothing that makes me laugh harder than when somebody writes down that there were only like 20 minutes of wrestling on a 3-hour episode of Raw or something. It happens too often, and it's hilarious, but it's also why I don't watch Raw and SmackDown in their entirety.
This last Monday Night Raw, Jay White and Austin Theory were supposed to go 11 minutes, but the Cena.
Jey Uso.
What did I say?
White.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Jey Uso.
That'd be a good match though.
Yeah, Jey Uso versus Austin Theory was supposed to go 11 minutes, but Cena and Cody went too long, so they cut that match to a minute. A minute. And don't get me wrong. The most important aspect of that show was Cena's promo. Like there was nothing that was going to top it no matter what, but still 1 minute.
Crowd hijacked that segment, so it wasn't necessarily Cody and John's fault. 2, I'm surprised that you didn't just grab like a random jobber they had backstage then, but whatever. D, you're on Netflix. Can't you go over now? Like, I know you want to keep it within a certain parameter, but is cutting a whole you could have cut 6 minutes, I'm sure, in that match. I'm sure you would have been fine and a bit better.
What do I know? I'm not a Netflix executive.
Me neither. To close out, it's saying Bayne was incredible and Tony as always. And I have a pretty good shirt idea. When do we get I'll rip your tits off TV shirt?
Ow.
I would like that. I mean, would you? I don't know if you'd want to wear that in public.
You wear it, but like the chesticle area is actually like cut off or ripped off.
Or like the cable guys in South Park where you can pull the flaps down.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
That feels like a shirt you get, and then you only wear the wrestling shirts, and you have a jacket on over it, so you can like take the subway without anybody asking what the fuck your shirt's about. All right, as we head into our wrap up here, Maria, and we'll get into that in a second, but is there going to be Gym Pack Zone tomorrow, James?
There will be Gym Pack tomorrow. We're coming off of a Hot Sacrifice pay-per-view from last Friday. Lots to talk about.
You know, obviously, would definitely wear that shirt. All right, so I would like to thank everybody so much for watching us here at the Market Down Podcast. We'd appreciate it if you would like and subscribe. Before I get into everything, James, would you want to run through the Speedball Mike Bailey autograph giveaway details before we go?
You must be following us. You must leave a comment here on the page.
Following us where?
So yeah, you must be following us here on the YouTube channel. That's like it's necessary for you to win. You must be following us here on YouTube.
Yes, be sure to subscribe.
You must leave a comment, whether it was in the live chat. So Maria's covered. You know it's covered. JL is covered. Even Vigilante is covered. But if you're watching us after the fact, you must leave a comment in the comment section below. If you want additional entries, just follow us on any of our social media. The links are below because Rev really worked hard on getting that done. Everywhere you follow us on social media, if you provide that evidence to us, if you provide picture proof, you get an additional entry to win Speedball Mike Bailey.
Yeah, all right. So be sure to do all that stuff. So if you like and subscribe, liking, just lets us know that you enjoyed the video tonight. But subscribing helps get you an entry into the Speedball Mike Bailey giveaway. And then, as James mentioned, he will be doing Gym Pack Zone tomorrow, so your subscription will help you get that. We do our best to cover Raw and SmackDown when important stuff happens, NXT too. We will definitely be doing the next pay-per-view. I don't know when that is, but we'll be there for Dynasty, no doubt. And then we will be back here next week for Dynamite again. Also, as James mentioned, if you want to follow us, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, or Blue Sky, all those links are here on YouTube in the description below. If you're not watching on YouTube, you're watching over on Twitter or on Facebook. Our Twitter is at marketdown_pod. Instagram is at marketdownpod. YouTube.com/marketdown3665. And Blue Sky is marketdownpod.bsky.social. I don't know what the TikTok is, but I barely know what TikTok is to begin with, so I don't care.
Mark It Down Pod. Look us up. You'll find us.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Any last comments before we go, James?
Have a good night, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow in the Gym Pack Zone.
Yep. All right. So for James Asante, my name is Nick Cummings. Thank you so much for watching us here at the Market Down Podcast. I hope everybody enjoyed their St. Patrick's Day. St. Patrick Week is still going, though, so maybe I'll see you at the parade on Saturday. Have a good night, everybody.